Well, hello. I think we're live. Welcome back. And let's say hi to everybody out there. I would immediately say, hey, let's send a prayer out there for Annie because I don't know where she is, and it's unlike Annie not to say hello. And something must be going on for her not to be here right now. So I wanted to play you guys a little song. Maybe you can guess what today is. Let's see what this is. Ready? So here I get to look in the computer trying to figure all this out. Anybody know what today is? Trying to figure that out myself. I might have to turn this down a little bit for you so you can kind of guess what's going on. But hey, just say it's my birthday. All right, I'm going to stop the music. As you guys know, it's kind of odd for me doing this because typically I'm looking at this and seeing what's going on. And Annie's running all this stuff, and today she's not here. And I just pray and hope she's okay, and I hope all of you guys can do the same. I believe that I can see the chat box, and I'm going to try to keep up with the chat box here. It's hard for me to see the chat box. And good morning, Leah. Prayers for Annie. Yeah, thank you. And I just hope that we can get through this and go on. So the goal, I mean, what we've been doing this whole time is just kind of going through the various aspects of the perfect equation. I did a show specifically on bricks, and on the bricks we talked about, hey, that's potential energy. You measure that sugar value. It gives about 15 different sugars that come out in the urine, not just one. It's more of a total dissolved solids. And Carrie Reams kind of explained in the urine that what that is that if it goes that bricks represents about 15 sugars, and then unless the conductivity, which we talked about another weekend, goes above 15, then you're typically seeing that you're just representing sugars of what's going on there. But potential energy. And then we talked about pH, and pH was that too fast or too slow. It's telling about the resistance, the speed of how the energy is able to go through the system, and that just gives us more information in regards to, in reality, that pH is telling us that how efficient the system is, that efficiency of our mineral utilization, that efficiency of our specific frequency. Because Ream said, hey, the frequency, the diet, and the frequency was really based upon that urine pH, which gives us that information of how well things are being utilized, the strength of the bile, whether you're digesting well enough, whether that liver's all stressed out, whether the overall efficiency of the body is turning over and utilizing cells and and in an efficient manner. You're seeing, if the urine pH is too high, that means there's more resistance that things go slower. If the urine pH is too low, that means the uh, think you're going to go too fast, and you're going to see like malabsorption issues. You're going to see diarrhea. You're just going to see all these negative effects happening in that regard. So then we talked about conductivity, and conductivity was gives us an idea of salts, ureas. There's chlorides, non-chlorides. There's the debris that's coming out that gives us an idea of the ability to conduct energy from point A to point B. And so when the conductivity is at 6.5, you have the right amount of resistance. It's kind of like a static electricity that's in you. And when it gets too high, your nerves get a little bit frayed, your nerves get irritated, your smooth muscle breaks down. You see diverticulitis, you see nervousness, anxiety, numbness, tingling, all of those fancy kind of symptoms. Really kind of crappy, and conductivity and sugars that bricks really can explain most symptoms of what people are complaining about. You see the adrenal issues, you see the just nervousness, fatigue, foggy brain, inability to think, all that kind of stuff. There's some role playing in the nitrates, which we'll go about hopefully next week and talk about. And then today I wanted to talk a little bit about the um, um, cell debris and look at that. Let me go on here and see. I got to kind of move between screens and see what's going on here to kind of keep you guys updated. So we only have 9 concurrent viewers. So hey guys, share this screen, give the thumbs up. All of that type of stuff is just to kind of help us. Again, Leah, Diana, good morning. Linda, Marty, good morning. I'm amazed that we have such a small following when we have over 1,000 followers on YouTube. And so, personally, I don't know how to get the word out to get people out here. I know missing a couple weeks was hard. My father passed away last last Saturday. It was really last Friday night. It was like 12:50 a.m. on Saturday morning, and that was not a fun experience, people. Being at the bedside, but to see the miracles of what natural medicine does. The previous Friday, he was near death on his bed, and I came, and people don't tell me Rife machines don't work. I brought a Rife machine down. I used Rife therapy on him, and all of a sudden I used brain frequencies, and next thing you know, my dad was talking to us. I used uh, cleansing frequencies. I had to help my dad in the morning. He actually had a bowel movement. We got him up. We showered. It was just an incredible day. I had called everybody in the previous night. I'm like, look, if you want to see Dad before he passes away, everybody, please, come here now. My whole family came in. Everybody came in. And then on Saturday, my dad's up. He's walking around. He's talking. He's having conversations with everybody. It was just like, hey, everything's good and dandy. His numbers look like total crap. He had his sugars were like 2.8. His pHs were like 4.8 over 4.8. His bricks or his conductivity was like in the 20s. His cell debris was next to nothing, like he wasn't getting rid of dead cells. His nitrates were like 1 over 12, just a total breakdown. I'm looking at his numbers and watching him go walk around the house. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is, but hey, Dad, we're going to feed you some potassium today, and we're going to get you, try to correct things. It was just an incredible gift. Everybody got to talk to him, everybody got to connect with him. Everybody's like, what the hell did you do with that machine that you're running on, Dad? And then everybody started to leave on Sunday. On Sunday, he was still kind of with it, a little bit irritable. Wow, I would be too if you knew what his chemistry suggested, that he was not detoxifying very well. So we kind of went back on Sunday. Next thing you know, I get a call on Monday that his brain's starting to fog out and can't get around again. He fell down and they had to help him get up. On Tuesday, he kind of just gave out. He wasn't able to keep conversation. He gave out to where they couldn't hold him. They had to call in paramedics, and the paramedics are like, well, if we take him into the hospital, you can't come in. We got to keep him. COVID, nobody can see him. He's not mentally there. We can make all the decisions for you. So thank God my stepmom put him in the bed, said, no, leave him here. And I got down there Wednesday, and there was no more communication with my dad. His eyes would open. It was feeding him drops of stuff through his mouth. I had a face mask on him for oxygen, and there was holes to where I could give him stuff. And people, I'm telling you, it was not a fun experience. But just to see, like one time, I was just keeping him stable. His oxygen stats were stable. His heart rate was stable, and then one time he just started, his whole muscles were jerking, and he tightened up. You could feel him grab your hands. His eyes opened up, and I turned around and I took some cell salts, Caliphos, potassium phosphate, mixed them in a little bit of water on a teaspoon with distilled water, squeezed it in a dropper, put 5 drops on his tongue. Within 3 minutes, all the constant, muscle contractions, and his heart went right back to normal again. So don't tell me natural medicine does not work, people. It was an incredible thing. My dad passed away at about 12:50 last Saturday morning, and the funeral was on Monday. And it's been a long week. Didn't help that my daughter totaled my car 2 days ago, and so hey, people, I'm still here though. So anyway, let's see what we got here. Good morning, all. Diana Dart, thank you. Don't make me cry on TV or on the YouTube. I don't want to cry. Sorry for your loss. Pine Tree, deepest condolences. Thank you. She was 97. Yeah, my dad was 89. It was just, I was just it was at a point where you see it like, just go, it's seeing him in a bed and what this last week was like is not worth it. But thank you, everybody. Thank you. I turn around. I'm getting text messages. I don't know if you guys heard my song at the beginning. Happy birthday, Daryl, for my brothers. But hey, I always like to start with a nice verse. And today, I like the Bible app. This is a little odd today, but you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Exodus 20:16. And so, false testimony. Who wants to lie about their neighbors? Who wants to lie about themselves? I mean, how many people have secrets? Not a healthy thing. Not a healthy thing. All the secrets come out in death and family. Kind of a scary thing. But anyway, I want to get back on track because you guys are hopefully wanting to learn some things, and we've gone through these various steps of the perfect equation, and Annie is just doing this incredible job. And honestly, I don't know if Annie is sick. I don't know if Annie's been in a car accident. I don't know what's going on. It is unlike Annie not to text. It's unlike Annie not to answer her phone. Everybody send prayers out for Annie right now. It's I don't know what's going on, and hopefully I'll hear from her later today. Maybe I hope she's just sleeping and actually getting some sleep because I know the issues that she's had with her back pain. So, but Annie's been doing these incredible thumbnail these pictures, which you'll see, as the thumbnail for the show today, and what I wanted to do was pull it up, but my ability to pop that on the screen right now is not like Annie's. I know she can just pull it up and share it and go into the online broadcasting and download it into the show. And I could try to share it through a Zoom meeting, which I tried to open up, but I'm scared that if I do that, I'm going to lose all of you anyway. So at the end of the show, when you do see the thumbnail, or maybe the thumbnail was even up this morning, on there. But go back and look at that thumbnail because that cell debris, just basically, at the time Reams would represent it. He called it albumin, and other people came back later on and said, well, albumin is a specific protein that is found in your blood. And I can tell you one thing, people: if you get your blood measured and and albumin's one of the things that they typically do. They'll do albumin, they'll do globulin, which are proteins that are found in the blood, and they'll do a ratio of them and say, hey, it should be a certain ratio. But albumin is the main actual carrier protein in your blood. And so when you're looking at it in a blood test, albumin's telling you the ability of the liver to produce it. Hey, how well is my liver doing? And on all honesty, if you see an albumin level that tends to stay below 4, there's an issue. But then later on, people turned around and said, hey, maybe we shouldn't turn around and call uh, referred to the cell debris or what we're looking at in RBTI, Ream's biological theory of ionization, and looking at these variables on this equation. But maybe we should turn around and people have referred to it as cell debris or cell turnover because Reams talks about alpha, delta, and omega cells. And alpha cells are 100% energy efficient. They are working. That's what your body is producing. Let's make healthy cells and let's get rid of the old. Reams is not, he said, God is not in the business of repairing. God is in the business of restoring and building new. And that's what he does with your cells. And so you measure how well your body is eliminating those cells by looking at that cell debris. And for when you're looking at it, in essence, what we're looking at is that that 0.04 m is 40,000 cells per liter of urine, or per quart, excuse me. 40,000 cells per quart of urine is what you would typically see come out, and that's for 100 pounds of body weight. So Reams had it down mathematically based upon for every 100 pounds. And then if you turn around, he said that there are 40,000 drops in a liter. And so what Reams would actually do is he would turn around and take one drop, put it on a microscope, and he would count the cells in that one drop, multiply it by 20,000, and then he would turn around and get an idea of how many of the cell debris of what was going on. What we now do is just kind of get a visual. You take the urine, you put the urine in a cup. You have a clear cup, and then you put a pin light behind the urine. Let's see how I can do that. But there, that's about right. And you put a pin light behind the urine, and you're looking through it like this, and then you see the light coming through the urine. And if you see the beam of light making it all the way through the urine, and clearly, like you can read, the way Badeau used to teach, and he had a Duracell battery. It's like, hey, if you can read this battery on the backside of it, then you have what we would term less than a 4M, 4 million particles. So 0.04M is 40,000 particles instead of, it's point 0.04 of a million, right? And so he turned around and uh, uh, and he would turn around and said a healthy person would have this turnover of about 40,000 particles per quart of urine, and you would have this consistently coming out of the body, and then that way is how he determined a rate of breakdown and degradation, and that when you see people, which it's quite ironic because he would turn around and associate those. If you weren't an alpha cell 100% efficient, you were either a delta cell, which was less than 100% but still functioning, or an omega cell, which was a dead cell. And so we have a lot of delta cells, and Reams termed delta cells carcinoma cells. And when Reams saw a 4M, which was a million particles, at least 4 million particles, because you could see so much coming through with those pluses. He said, hey, this is telling us if the body is working. Is the body eliminating the bad cells? Is it getting rid of it? And we can use that as a variable when you get into the healing and restorative range. You see the cell debris go up. It says that the body's dumping crappy cells. But on an initial, if you were having, 4M plus, Reams would associate that with high levels of carcinoma cells and correlate it with that big cancer word. And we're not here to diagnose anybody, but if your body's not getting rid of bad cells and you have a bunch of what we would call delta cells, which are still functioning cells, but they are separate from the control of your autonomic nervous system. So here's a cell that's no longer 100% efficient. Your body says, hey, we don't need you. We're going to get rid of you. We're going to disconnect, and we're not going to control you. But that cell's going, hey, I'm still good. I'm going to keep making up. I'm going to still do my own thing. Well, dang, if it's not going to, I can't be a part of the collective. I'm going to be the resistance. Hey, let's be some resistance and grow into some big cancer or something to that effect. And that's basically what happens, if you're, from a really abstract way of thinking, And so what happens is that if you have a 100% efficient cell and it starts losing calcium, Reams associated everything with calcium. And where there's more density, more stuff, there's more calcium. So if you look at an X-ray and you got black and white, so what's white? Your bones. Why? Because they're more dense. Why? Because there's more calcium. Tumors have a little bit of more white in them. Why? Because there's more calcium. It's more dense, And so X-rays are just shades of white and gray, which in reality are giving the idea of aspects of calcification. And Reams would say that if a cell had lost calcium, it's going to replace it with water. Why? Because we're full of water. And so as that water comes in, what does it cause? Swelling. And what's swelling? What's another way that we look at swelling? There's a big word that starts with an I called inflammation, right? And how many of you have heard that, in the naturopathic world, that all disease begins with inflammation? I've heard that before. I was taught that. That's what they say. Everything. And now you have other people saying, well, all inflammation is caused by leaky gut. Let's connect it to the gut, And we can turn around and make these connections and everything. But when you're looking at it electrochemically, basically you have a cell that's no longer 100%. It starts breaking down internally, loses calcium, starts an inflammation process, separates itself electrically from your body, and therefore you have something that needs to get rid of it. And if your body's unable to get rid of it, it's telling us, oh, there's a problem here. Particularly if the other numbers are showing a high degree of crappiness. Like you looked at my dad's numbers, last Friday and whatever else, and a pH of 4.8 over 4.8. I'm like, oh my God, he's not going to get through this. And then the next day, we're like, oh my God, this is magic. What did you do, Daryl? My everybody was like, okay, what did you do? And it was just a blessing. That was just a blessing to have that day with my father. My people got to have conversations. We did a Zoom meeting with his brother and sister because we tried to do a Zoom meeting that Friday night. And my dad he'd come and he'd go and he'd come and he'd go and you couldn't keep a conversation. And he sort of, you could see that he pseudo knew who you were every now and then. When I got there last Friday, before leaving and then coming back the following Friday, or that was 2 Fridays ago, my dad didn't even know who I was. And he didn't even know who my stepmom was. Who am I? Oh no. That was a wake up call. And but you turn around and you look at those numbers, and when I looked at his urine and there's no cell debris with that degree of destruction, a 1/12 with his nitrates, and we're going to talk about nitrates, protein building over protein breakdown. So his protein building capacity was next to nothing, but his breakdown was like, just brown crap coming out of him. All that stress into heart, an 89-year-old heart. He went into heart failure. That's basically how he died. And you can turn around and explain it completely. And so the cell debris is giving us an idea, is the body cooperating and getting rid of crap that it needs to? And it reflects the kidneys. It's reflecting whether your kidneys are eliminating the bad cells and how things are, and it gives us an idea of, Reams told us that there's microtubule inflammation. Small tubule tubes, which are found in the kidneys, inflammation when that goes up. And so you see renal cell breakdown. And so one thing that I do in my office is I do a urinary analysis on everybody. And those of you who are serious about RBTI, and wanting to test other people, I'm going to tell you to get a urinary analysis device. You can buy a machine through McKesson Labs with strips for about $160, where you just do a dipstick and it reads it for you, and then learn to what those parameters mean. Glucose is telling you, hey, am I dumping glucose in the urine? Should I? No. Protein, am I dumping protein in the urine? Should I? No. If you are, it correlates very well with high cell debris and with a high ammonia nitrate. And that's telling you that there's protein degradation and breakdown. And when you see glucose in a urinary analysis, or protein in a urinary analysis, it's like, oh crap, my kidneys are breaking down. And you see water. You see people where everything in the body about water movement is based upon osmotic gradients. And so some people, every now and then, if you look at a blood test, you'll see osmolarity, the amount of concentration of stuff in there. And you'll see that your osmolarity will go up. And when it goes higher, that means it's more concentrated, and you typically see people holding fluid. What I see when people have high cell debris, that, oh my God, I gained 3 pounds today. Hey, I lost it today. I'm going in and out, it's because you pee off the water one day, the next day you hold it. And why does that change? What you're eating. We talk about diet and how everything is core, central, key. Look at what you're eating, people. This is a food restoration program. The aspect of using supplements is using them because you need them. And it's because that we are so minerally deficient. And so we figure out, based upon those numbers, what minerals and what forms of the minerals are best for us. And that's kind of what, when we do a level 2 retreat, we're going to talk about supplements, minerals, when to choose, what forms. Hey, if you've got heart conditions, use potassium and magnesium aspartate, because it governs the channels of how things move in and out of the cells and these type of things. And when you have high pHs, use magnesium malate. When you have low pHs, use magnesium citrate. And why do we choose that? And it's there's various aspects of There was a guy named Hans Neiper, Neiper, biochemical genius in the 1960s. And he basically wrote a book and explained, and he used a lot of calcium 2-AEP. Look that up, people. Calcium 2-AEP. And it's a form of calcium that he showed regulates how things move in and out of the cells, particularly viruses and pathogens. Wow, that's suggesting that we have viruses and pathogens in us. Rife said that. Ream said that. Enderlein said that. Lavotsky said that. Many practitioners said that we have all these microbes in us. But modern medicine, oh no, microbiome. It's in my gut, comes out my butt. You know, there's a lot more of microbes than that, people. Just look up pleomorphism. I'm not here to teach, or slander the medical aspects, and that's not my intentions. I'm just here to say that what is taught is what they want you to understand based upon their concepts of a disease model. I would like you to learn a health model and understand that you got bugs all over you, all in you, everywhere, for every cell of your body, the trillion cells that you have. Here, I just scratched off and put there, probably 100 cells just flew off into the air, right? And so for every 100, there was 1,000 microbes that went with it. We are outnumbered 10-1 with the microbes in our body. And so that is something that, again, something to be discussed on another show, and things like that, and where we bring in just, other practitioners and understanding why I use electrical therapies like a multi-wave oscillator, why I use a electrical therapy like a Rife machine. There is these things are amazing, but you don't just turn around and jump on a Rife machine and expect it to work and kill everything if you don't turn around and have your chemistry working. So step one, look at this chemistry, people. Get it working. So I don't see any comments. You guys aren't asking questions. We're seeing here dub underscore CPA. Thank you. God bless you too. Linda, thank you for sharing. Marty, retracted message. Are you sending? Did YouTube retract that message, or did you retract it? That makes me wonder. We've had a lot of issues with YouTube. They won't allow me to advertise vitalometry. Google won't allow me to advertise vitalometry. We're allowed to do these YouTube shows, but when you're looking at how they populate and looking at how people find me, you have to know to find me. I've had people say that they've shared our show, and that the links when they share, I've even shared the show myself with some people I know down in North Carolina, and they're like, the links you sent won't work. I'm like, that's odd. I just pulled it directly from my YouTube and posted it in. Why won't it open? So I don't know why. I'm thankful that we had a president that signed an executive order that the censorship needs to end, and I hope that helps just to get a message of hope and health out, and that you guys are enjoying this. But are there any questions? Give me some questions on the in the chat room. I don't know if you guys have any. Let me see if there's anything. I have nothing appearing on the chat. And that's one of the things that I do definitely want to be able to answer for you guys if there's something coming out. When you're looking at cell debris, the main thing that I see in associations with it is water imbalance. When you see that people have a high cell debris, you will see that the kidneys are stressed. It does tell you that the kidneys are working. And the one supplement that, Ream's associated with that is vitamin E. If you have a lot of cell debris, take vitamin E. He give 1,000 units of vitamin E once a day between meals at a minimum. Sometimes he give it up to 3 times a day. A lot of vitamin E when you see a lot of kidney, a high cell debris and problems going on. And so, that's the, otherwise when you're looking at it, I can look at, there are attributes of using an herb called golden seal, that if you do not see cell debris coming out when you should, hey, my nitrates are high, my pHs are off, My conductivity is a little high, but I got no cell debris. My urine's perfectly clear. Can't see a single particle floating in there because the cell debris is by far the most subjective of all the variables. You're actually looking, it's a visual observation. And so you got to be able to, that's why we held a pin light behind it. In reality, you should be able to hold it up to a light and just, see if you see stuff floating in there. And I don't expect you all to have microscopes and put one drop and count particles, and when you do, you got to go up and down and kind of scan that. And it's not an easy thing to do. And so, that cell debris is just one of these that say, hey, are my kidneys working and are they stressed? And if they're high, you're going to see people holding water fluid. But if you have really wonky numbers and that cell debris is like nothing, the meeting has ended. Okay, I got to restart a meeting. Hold on, people. I am sorry about that. I hope that went. I hope I'm back. Let me see what we got here. Dang it. Ugh. Am I still alive? Hello, hello. Okay, it looks like I'm still going. And you guys can tell me if you still see me. It looks like I'm back up. For some reason, I just got kicked out of my Zoom meeting. So it says here, can correct, let's see, Pine Tree, what about someone who's losing weight due to a bad gallbladder? What to eat to gain and keep the weight on? If you're losing weight because of a bad gallbladder, you need to work on the gallbladder. Artichokes are wonderful food for the liver and gallbladder. Black radishes, dandelion root, burdock root, milk thistle, schisandra, herbals to help support. I'm going to go by the numbers. I can't turn around and say, eat this, because you turn around and you have a bad gallbladder, you start eating fats and you're going to get gallbladder attacks. You start eating sugars and you're going to convert to triglycerides, and that's not going to help you either. It's not going to be healthy weight gain. You got to look at the full set of numbers. You have to go and by number one, get a refractometer. Number two, have at least some pH strips, and then turn around and have those get that urine pH and that bricks under control. Learn what they're doing. Learn what food's doing with it, and learn how to eat. Get the food prominent calcium food list and look at the BC diet versus the DE diet on what foods you choose. That's why when people buy all the equipment, we give you those lists and we give you the outline. And when you go to a level one retreat, the level one retreat is we're going to test. We're going to test twice a day. You're going to know how to do this, and you're going to do it until you got it, because you're not walking out of here and able to do this little 8-minute test, period. And once you do the test, okay, now let's talk about these numbers and let's put you in a range. And we talk about, we've done shows. After I do the nitrate shows, we're going to talk about ranges, and we're going to go and we're going to do another show on ranges and about eating. I want to get some other people and do some stuff, have some guests on here. But you got to understand the ranges and then what foods to choose. And like I said, we finished the book. These thumbnails that you guys are seeing as the that we typically are introducing on the YouTube shows are going to be in the book to explain these concepts, and then we'll go from there. Can correction of pH repair kidney damage? Rife, Reams, lots of people talked about pH, and when you're looking at at kidney damage and repair, you're basically having a system that's in a breakdown state. And so what do? It's not fix one number. pH definitely helps. You're having a disintegration and a breakdown because you're having a misutilization of calcium and all your minerals. You have to have selenium. You have to have zinc for tissue repair. You have to have the right forms of calcium. If you're having kidney irritation, you definitely should be taking some vitamin E. You definitely, a little bit of watermelon. Drinking a half a cup of watermelon juice. Go take a watermelon and make those little scoop it out, make balls, and then freeze them. And let's say we have 4 watermelon balls a day and throw them in a blender and just drink some watermelon every day, because you're not going to have watermelon all year round, but you could freeze it and kind of use it that way. So, when you're looking at these type of things, um, the McNutt House. Hello, Andy. Message retracted. I don't know what you're trying to say, buddy. But I don't know who's retracting messages, but if it's you or if it is YouTube. But people, I just hope that we're getting a right message here. But go back, back to the gallbladder, what to eat. You need bitters. I would go get herbal bitters and do, 5-10 drops of an herbal bitter. It tastes like crud, but it's going to stimulate the digestion in the liver even before you eat, to be ready to get that liver going. And as your as your whole equation, as you're doing your set of numbers, as the numbers will start falling into a pattern where the energy efficiency on the front end, the pH and the brick starts getting in a controlled range, and then the back end, the cell debris, the cell debris, the conductivity, and the nitrates go up. You're starting to detox. At that point, we need to support it. We need to flush it out. We need to drink it. Drink water to flush it, and sometimes we will use herbs and other things to support cell salts, whatever. I go by the numbers, people. If you're asking me a question, what to take, it's all based upon what the numbers say. That's the one thing that's changed over the years for me. I used to, people would call and I do a basic naturopathic consult. And I'm like, hey, let me mix you an herbal for that. Oh, let me give you a homeopathic and an herbal for that. Oh, let's give you some B12, or let me give you some adrenal glandular, or some thyroid glandular, or these specific nutrients, because functional medicine says that this is what you need based upon that disease and that symptom. It doesn't work. It helps. You want to get it to work, you look at the efficiency of what these numbers are telling you. That's the beauty of RBTI. It's telling us where, it's telling us what we need, and it's trying to bring us back into what we call the restoration range, and that's why it's called restorative health. So let's see, Linda, High Pine Tree. I've read that cruciferous vegetables are good. Yes, they are. Cruciferous vegetables are good. However, we do have some people who react, particularly if you have blood type O. We'll see that those some of those cruciferous vegetables, they're the brassica family, the cabbage and the Brussels sprouts and the broccoli, cauliflower, can not only make you gassy, but can just be reactive. And it's typically blood type O people that I see them react to that. Dub_CPA question, maybe off topic, but my husband was just diagnosed this morning with shingles. He has Crohn's, not uncommon. Do you have some recommendations? Yeah, get a static generator, an electrostatic generator. If you look up pyroenergen, PYROENERGEN, pyroenergen.com. Don't order theirs. They want $1,300 for them. Electrostatic energy, when run through the body, viruses don't replicate. So anybody who comes to my office and if they're dealing with chronic issues, cancers, autoimmune conditions, we see a lot of chronic viral issues. Basically, he has a susceptibility. Why was he susceptible? Why is anybody susceptible? Immune dysfunction. Are you scared of coronavirus? Well, are you susceptible? It's your immune level of activity. Coronavirus is attacking the ACE2 cells, which if you're heavy and fat, guess what? You have more of those receptors. So that's why it attacks fat people and diabetics, and so, but when you're looking here from shingles, there are, herbal, olive and andrographis are great for, are good antivirals. Lomatium, but it'll make you get a rash initially. You got to start with a drop or 2 a day. Is a great antiviral and antimicrobial. I use homeopathic nosodes. It's called herpetic nosode. It's homeopathic of the shingles virus. And what you're doing is taking a homeopathic dilution. It's like homeopathic vaccines. You're taking a homeopathic dilution of a microbial energy, and you're telling the body, hey, let's react against this virus and let's stimulate the body against this. So I use the no-sows, I use antivirals. Colloidal silver is antiviral, strongly antiviral. If you have shingles and Crohn's, I could tell you he's got a chronic inflammatory and he's eating the wrong foods. But I would turn around and say, get some colloidal silver. Daily manufacturers, 20 part per million is awesome. I'd have somebody in that situation do probably 1/2 to 1 tablespoon, a half ounce to an ounce 3 times a day, and then take a high potency probiotic away from it. It's like breakfast, lunch, dinner, take colloidal silver, do probiotic at bedtime, at least 50 to 100 billion live cell bacteria, take a homeopathic nosode. In reality, those of you who are, really like, what do I do about, I get viruses and get sick and whatever else, a static generator, electrostatic generator, the pyroenergen is the one that it's all based upon. And then the guy who was selling them in the U.S. a few years ago said, hey, I can do these. And he makes them. I think they're better. And we get them. They're about 800, 850 bucks. But first thing, start feeling crappy, I go put my feet on that thing and for 30 minutes, and it just kind of helps. And but I can't make claims. And I'll tell you that pyroenergen, go look it up on the FDA. It's on the FDA black box list. It says, hey, don't use it. False claims. Don't believe a damn word. Try it. See what happens. That's all I can say. Let's see. Hi, Doc. Hey, Handy. How are you doing, buddy? Thank you. I'm enjoying my new air cleaner. Yeah, those air purifiers are amazing, Jackie. Radiocatalytic ionization, low dose ozone. Keep that ozone on low, but the where it says purify, if you smell too much ozone, then turn it down. But the radiocatalytic ionization, that ultraviolet light that's in there, is basically producing hydroxyls, and you're sterilizing your place. The Kansas State study showed that 99.9% of bacteria and fungus on your countertop surfaces, ooh, look at that dust. But all on your countertop surfaces are being killed by using an air purifier while it has a HEPA filter. I mean, it's just a great, I have 3 cats, and I've had people come into my house that are totally allergic to cats and say, okay, why am I not getting swelling up and reacting in this house? I'm like, that air purifier right there. So anyway, what's the oxalate content in vitalometry for kidney stone patients? The only, who's measuring oxalate content? Nobody. However, when you're looking at purslane is like one of the richest sources of omega-3 fatty acids of any plant in the world. It's a basic weed. I pull it out of my garden and throw it in my salads. But purslane helps with essential fats and everything. But purslane does contain oxalates because it's a green food. Like probably not as much as spinach. I don't know. You can look up the oxalate percentage of purslane. Most people are, if he's eating any vegetables, he's probably getting oxalates. I did, when I made my vitalometry for my 15-year-old lab and have my lab have an extra couple years, in good years, I mean, playing and everything, by giving it vitalometry, I did start removing the purslane because in her old age, she couldn't control her bladder. And the purslane, the vitalometry helped it. Next thing you know, she's walking to the door, but as soon as she went out, just came right out of her. But she was able to make it to the door, not pee all over the house anymore. And that's even while I still had purslane in there. I gave my dog with purslane for about 6 months. I saw no problem with it. So the amount of oxalates, I don't know. I haven't measured that. If you go look up oxalates and purslane, you might find how much is in there. What else do we have? I'm so grateful for this information. Thanks for doing it. Oh, you're welcome. It's what I do. I enjoy it. Marty, my daughter's been diagnosed with COVID, and a friend suggested magnesium, MGCP2. What is that? I don't know. I go to the website and look up MGCP2. With COVID, what I do, Marty, is I have on our electrodermal equipment, there's a COVID virus frequency that had been identified years ago. And so I turned around and made, not COVID virus, but coronavirus. And I turned around and did homeopathic dilutions of that virus as a vibrational imprint, and that's what I put in my. It's called a flu nosode. It's a homeopathic vibrational that you take as a flu preventative, and then I imprint it with the coronavirus. I have a family that has three doctors. The husband, the son, and the son-in-law are all doctors, and the daughter-in-law four. And they all take my coronavirus drop and colloidal silver. So if I had, there's salvia, millifolia, I think, salvia and kudzu, but salvia is probably one of the best herbs to take if you think you have coronavirus. I would mix up an herbal with a bunch of herbs in there, specific. I would take some if you know that there's coronavirus. I would be taking either lumbrokinase or nattokinase, or serrapeptidase. Those systemic enzymes. You can get Vitalzyme. You can get lumbrokinase. The problem is the coronavirus causes microclotting issues, and that's what I think my dad died. I think my dad got corona back in February. He cleared it. I gave him, some stuff, and he got through that. But slowly and steadily, he kept getting more short of breath. I think he started getting fibrosis of the lungs, and I couldn't get it to stop. I was giving him some things, and on and off, and then his heart just kept getting worse because of the lack of oxygen. And an 89-year-old could not take the circulatory stress of poor oxygenation. And I think my dad had post coronavirus syndrome is what it's called. But get your daughter on some systemic enzymes. Get your daughter on. I would give high doses of colloidal silver. I would give a nosode. I would go to Stephen Bruner, Bruhner, and he has a PDF article online that's free about coronavirus and herbs that are beneficial. And you can read that. There's a lot of good information on there. Why to use garlic, with thinning the blood. Why to use salvia. Why to use kudzu. Why to use polygonum. There's very specifics based upon what's going on, and very treatable, particularly in a younger person. I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see. I think this is the website you referred to, pyroenergen.com. Yep, that is. Get rid of that extra dot out of there, but that is it, pyroenergen.com. That's great, and thank you. He is trim and no diabetes, very allergic to nightshades. Yeah, got to watch out for some herbs with nightshades, like ashwagandha. Hey, I'm going to do some adrenal support. Ashwagandha's in the nightshade family. Watch out for that stuff. So I don't know, what more to talk about. I, kind of talked about cell debris today. This chair is very uncomfortable. I got to get Andy something better to sit in. I can keep having to adjust myself here. The whole purpose today was more or less go back and give you an idea of another part of that perfect equation and why we look at cell debris and the stress on the kidneys. It's giving you an idea of elimination, of cellular elimination. And if you see the cell debris go skyrocket high when you're putting that pin light through and it gets all cloudy and you see all types of funk in there, and we call that a 4M plus plus plus. So I just do it instead of going 2M, 1M, 0.04M, the historical way that Reams did it. I either have 4M, which is 4 million particles, meaning when you're holding that light behind the cup and you're looking through it, if you see particles, with your by the eye, it's a 4M. If you see hey, there's a bunch of them, they're starting to appear, but the light's still shining through pretty clearly, it's a 4M 1 plus. If you see the light's still barely making it through, but a lot of particles, it's a 4M 2 plus. If the light doesn't even penetrate through the urine, and you could see a light, but not the beam of light going through the urine, and there's just crud all through it, it's a 4M 3 plus. And some people go 4 plus and whatever, but I do less than 4M. If you don't see anything floating in there with a light behind it, I just go less than 4M. Why? who's putting it on a microscope and counting the actual number of particles? That's how Reams determined that. He would consistently take one drop, because there's 40,000 drops in a liter, and then he would mathematically determine, based upon counting the number of particles he could see in that one drop, and then give you a an estimation of your breakdown. And he could mathematically determine, hey, based upon this rate of breakdown, based upon the crappiness of your numbers and the ability to generate energy, you're going to die on this day. And you know how many days he predicted the day that somebody would die? That's scary. And then people would say, well, when he put that in their mind, there's got to be a psychological effect to that this is the day that I'm to die. This is the day that the Lord had made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. People, there's a lot to be thankful for. And, um, there's a lot to learn in life and death. Death is the inevitable. We're all going to get there. It's kind of odd. Today's my birthday. Thank you for happy birthday. I'm 52. I am almost halfway through my life. And I have since I was little. For some reason, I just had this 106 stuck in my head since I was little. I don't know why. Hey, I'm going to be this old 106-year-old man. So, as we get ready to finish the show today, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I thank you for participating and being a part of it and wishing me a happy birthday. I can be a little stupid. I enjoy it. Be me. That's the way it ought to be. All right, people. I'm going to thank you for tuning in. I don't know. I don't see any other questions coming out there. Wait a minute. Let's see here. Chuck found. What'd you find, Chuck? I always seem to catch the tail end of your blog, but I still give you thumbs up. Everyone watching, give a thumbs up. Yeah, please do, people. Hit that thumbs up. If you can share it on your Facebook page, and then ask the people that you share it, and just say, hey, check this out, and let me know. Text me back if it doesn't open, or let me know if you have a problem opening it. And then come back and report it to me, because I know it's happening and I don't know why it's happening. So, anyway, yep. Happy Sabbath by all means. God bless. You crack me up, Jack. Thank you, Jackie. You guys get to see the best of me. I'm always supposed to be serious when I'm in the office. Well, let's look at your numbers today. And what I see is little need for improvement. My numbers lately this week. Have you guys ever done emotional eating of chocolate? Yeah, guilty. My daughter totaled my car. My dad died. I hope that's it. I had somebody else say, hey, Doc, be ready for something else. It usually comes in threes. I pray that it doesn't. Pray I'm done with all this crap this week. But I thank you guys for tuning in. Happy birthday to me. Guys, you guys can, how many of you guys remember Alice in Wonderland, in the Mad Hatter? Happy birthday to me. Or it's a very unhappy, I don't remember how it went. You guys can go look that song up. I should try to find it. Very unhappy birthday, or a happy unbirthday. Happy unbirthday. I think that's what it is. Let's do unbirthday so we all go backwards in age. So, hey, thank you guys. I'm going to try to tune out. I'm going to say bye, and till next week, God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see.